So I just had to make sure that we're live and anyways, it was an OBS problem. The broadcasting software wasn't linking with Facebook right. So yeah, I set this whole thing up and then I was thinking it would work. And so anyways.
That's because you tried selling us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you can totally ignore that if you all right. Let's see here. So welcome to Good Morning IFalls. I have Councilor Tim Wegner and Pete Kalar here with us today. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things going on with the city, especially including the levy, and get more information on that. There's a lot of misinformation out there and maybe not a lot of whole information or complete information out there. So Tim and Pete reached out to me and sat and tried to see if we could have a conversation and iron some of it out and whatnot. So far as I know it, there's a levy coming up. You guys put it at 20% as like a cautionary preliminary budget or whatever.
That is correct. Preliminary budget levy was 20%. Right.
So, and then that was in part just to, so you could pull it back, correct?
Well, and part of it is by the end of September 30th, we have to have our preliminary levy to the county so they can send it to the state.
Okay.
And before our financial person she's got to do things to prepare it and stuff like that the state wants now and the county, so we have to set it early. And the thing, we can't raise it, we cannot, but we can bring it down, and that's our plan, to work it down. But
Yeah.
And the levy, the 20% is kind of broken into two. First, it would be general revenue, which is 10% that's set at right now. Another one, we decided that for the ambulance, we are gonna has never been levied for out of the general levy to try and keep it running.
So is that one of the solutions to the ambulance fund being bad? Like, I don't know how else to describe like the ambulance financial situation, right?
That is correct. It's a thought. How's that? A thought of, but again, that 10% levy goes against the citizens of the city only.
And so the problem is then the city residents are bearing more of the costs. Is that accurate?
I'm sorry. Well, we already are bearing the cost. Like, it isn't so much, everybody calls it that the ambulance goes over budget, overrun. They don't go over budget so much as everybody's sort of been through it, is it's Medicare, Medicaid, and things like that don't reimburse at a level that it costs to run an ambulance, especially at ALS, and other people are just hard for whatever reason with insurance. So that's the problem. It doesn't really go over, but they have a hard time. Some of it doesn't get collected enough. And it's always ran that way. It's ever since there's been an ambulance even, I couldn't tell you when it started, but let's go 7. But, it's supposed to be what kind of fund is it? Sustain itself.
Yeah.
But obviously with the way things are, and things don't always work out the way you plan.
Yeah, I know.
And we've never, and the city's never levied, and actually this was the
Yeah.
idea of the mayor to get a idea of some help, see what we can do, and that's why, in theory, the general fund, we take the money from the general fund then to make up the difference. And when we get money back, when we finally do collect money, or say we get help from the state, like we have a couple times, that just goes back into the general fund. So that's why it never really shows up. It doesn't go right to the ambulance, because the lady brought that up the other day at a meeting. We got a couple $100,000 last year, the year before. But what happened, that doesn't go to the ambulance, that goes into the general fund to make up for the money that the general fund has borrowed,
Yeah,
and even if,
constantly moving, like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
and-
get that somewhat, having been on the school board and having some dedicated funds and some general funds.
Exactly.
and even if we do have, and they're working right now with our neighboring partners, and let's say it ends up being a taxing district of some type, well, the citizens of International Falls are still gonna be, we're gonna be part of the taxing district, if that's how it goes, so we'd still be having to collect money one way or the other, so.
We've got two, Mayor Dill and Councilor Holden are working right now with the county and meeting with them, trying to get a taxing district established for the entire region of the ambulance coverage, which includes St. Louis County, which has agreed, part of, like up by Capitol
Yeah,
and
like,
Wegner.
yeah.
So St. Louis County would have to be part of it. Couchiching County, International Falls, and Rainier would all have to agree. And then, it's the best way to do it, fairest way to do it. And, residents of the city would pay whatever, $50 a year or something. Just guessing, no, that's not necessarily
Yeah,
the number.
based on some other things.
And then it becomes run by an ambulance commission. It's not run by the city anymore. You maybe have a couple representatives from the county, a couple from the city, a couple from Rainier, and a couple from St. Louis County.
That's moving forward?
That's the
does it seem
whole-
likely,
That's the
likely
best
to
way to
happen?
save it. No, at this point, it doesn't.
it doesn't seem likely?
No.
No, oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely something needs to change overall. I was gonna interject earlier,
Yeah.
like, my stepdad, before he passed away, I doubt he ever paid his, ambulance bill, and that thing was there every other
Well
day, it
aware.
seemed like.
Yeah.
My-
So anyways, I'm sure that's just one person, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I can't imagine like the sustainability of this
Yeah.
thing, and so
And that's a problem. A lot of people, you call the ambulance and you still got to call the ambulance. Some people just, for whatever reason, right? They're Medicaid, or
terminally ill and broke.
terminally ill and broke, right? They can't afford insurance. All these things come into play. So, yeah. So, but hopefully we'll get something worked out, or we'll have to make some decisions that
Yeah, and
will be hard.
yeah, it'll be hard, but we will be, by the end of this year, we'll have to make them.
What do you think about, and this is actually my personal feeling too, but it seems to be a sentiment of some of the unrest, is that we've had a budget this entire time, right? And we've had this ambulance problem this entire time, or for a long time
Long
anyways.
time, yeah.
And it seems like sometimes at the city level, things maybe, and maybe at the county too, but we're just talking about the city right now, is the plans don't plan out all the time. And so we just had a tax increase from the city, the county, the school, and so like it's all coming all at once, right? And so people used to brag about, or not, I guess some people would brag about taxes being so low for so long. And so I think what I would be concerned about is, okay, so we're raising all these taxes and everything like that. First off, probably should have been done incrementally over time. We
Exactly.
don't have a time machine, unfortunately. So like all that bragging was for naught, because it got us into our situation that we're in. But why would people be like, okay, that this money is going to solve the problem? Is there a plan that's going to be more concise? Did somebody do any like analysis of like, this is how we could get in the more revenue for the ambulance or whatever? And I know, again, that's a very complicated thing, but even with preventive maintenance checks and services across town, it seems like, and I think Pete and I talked about this last time, things don't get better, they just slowly deteriorate while we try to maintain them. I know the sewers, or not the sewer, the water project is a part of the levy. It's roughly half of the money you're looking for, or am I wrong about that?
The sewer, the water plant?
Yeah, the water
The
plant.
water
Right,
plant
so-
will be taken, that will be paid for. It's just like we talked about the ambulance fund,
Yeah.
water and sewer are funds that are self-sufficient as opposed
Revenue generating.
Finally remember the name, their enterprise funds.
Enterprise funds,
And the
yeah.
money, like when you pay your water bill.
Yeah.
And sewer, they go into accounts for maintenance and pay some of our staff, and everybody says, well, I'll cut staff and to save money of that, but some of them are paid out of those funds, sewer and water, and that money will be used if we're still on the list for hopefully bonding.
Yes.
This coming year, they had a meeting in Ely, and just to go around and see what people are looking for. So we will be working with our lobbyists and representatives down there to help with that, but otherwise, right, what's the difference, and I understand that, you get an increase in your taxes or an increase in your water bill, right? But that water will be dedicated on your bill, whether it's an increase or a one-time, or a monthly separate fee of, once again, just making up a number, $25 to do that, to do the rehab project. And then it's funny when it comes to bonding and some help, especially like, there's loans and bonds, and we're getting ours through, I think it's Rural Water or Minnesota Department, one of them, which will help it, but then typical government, right? You gotta be in more debt before you can get help. Right now, we don't qualify because we don't have any debt.
Okay.
So,
The
and
ambulance doesn't
we'll be taking this
The
loan
ambulance
out.
one's different. This is
Yeah.
what he's talking, water sewer here.
Yeah,
It-
water,
it's a-
sewer.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's just for that specific department?
Yeah.
is what
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
for
Okay.
that department. So that's part of it too, but either way, it needs to get done, right? Because we're just talking about how over the years we kept our taxes low, but then we fall behind on stuff, correct? Well, I'll be honest, I'll say I'd rather have my legacy saying I raised water rates than my legacy being we didn't have a water plant that worked. And I'm just talking for myself, no other counselors. And you read all the time in the Minneapolis paper, this is all over, water
Yeah.
plant. I mean, I think we talked about that too, right? When was it built? 40 years ago. Everybody calls it the new water plant. It's, coming up
Yeah.
40 years old. I still live in a world where there's an old holler school and a new holler school.
Yeah.
And neither one is there anymore, except
Yeah.
for the picture on my wall that my dad painted of
Yeah.
the old one, but that's the story of another. You know what so, and nobody wants to. But that's a plan with the water plant.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the people who are maybe concerned that this is kind of just another stab at like trying to solve the problem other than a planned out problem perhaps?
But it is.
It's been fairly planned out. I mean, the water treatment's been coming.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I guess, sorry, I should have.
It worked on that for a couple years.
I should have pulled it back. I meant the levy and all it encapsulates, not just the water plant. I should have taken it back there for a second, but in the sense that the water plant had a study and everything like that, was there anything in the ambulance fund as well that made you pick a certain number or anything like that?
I don't think so. We've had the ambulance studied, we've had forums, we've had meetings with the county. That went on for 2 years here, a couple years ago?
Yeah, a couple of years ago when I was still working and I was part of it, and they had a group that they tell us were relatively close at one time of, right, roughly how much it costs and how much we spend, and they had so much for every parcel up to, or down to so much worth that let's say if you have property with the structure of worth $10,000, well, then you'd be taxed whatever the money was. So there's a plan in it, and speaking of, we have a 5-year, not the ambulance, but 5-year public infrastructure plan.
Yeah.
We have plans, and trust me, we're a long ways from doing all that in 5 years. I mean, just from the cost and whatnot. And so, they're always, I know it may look like we just run stuff like I run my my checkbook, but no plan. There's a lot of analysis and work that goes in, no matter what the project is, before we make a decision.
And you gotta remember, we've had, since, Counselor Kalar and I have been on council, I think our first year it was 10, the ending levy. The second year was 8.5. Last year it was 5.75 levy. So we've reduced the levy every year. And, you know, I believe last year when we got into our preliminary was 20 overall. And by the time we were done in December, we had it down to
At a 5.
5.8
Yeah,
something,
somewhere around there.
which is right in line with most cities our size in the state of Minnesota. It's not over or above, and it's always been our goal. I mean, all the councilors' goal is to keep our levies low.
So we're competitive with other cities and stuff like that.
Absolutely, but yeah,
And
and
if
better
you-
than most.
And if you want to go actually monetarily, not
Yeah.
even percentage, we're still one of the lower.
Yeah.
But that, because no one wants to raise taxes, but it's like we were talking just a little bit, but if you let them low and you can't keep up, right?
Yeah.
To maintain, and it gets
Yeah.
harder, and, because remember, everybody we raise, but it isn't like we get a break on our taxes. My taxes go up too when we raise them, and
Yeah,
there comes a point though, right, you can, and let's be honest, the only way to really cut back is staff. No one wants to do that right now. We might do some through attrition, we gotta see how things go, but that means there's less people to plow your street or
yeah.
whatever that, and I'm sure that stuff like that doesn't happen fast enough the way it is,
Yeah.
right now.
That's
There's
when-
some-
that's when
Or
services
you want
suffer,
some
yeah.
information from City Hall, well,
Yeah.
if there's less people, you know, all these things, so you gotta find that balance to try to give respectable services and. Like that.
All right, well, thanks
And,
for.
and I'll say we have,
I hope that helped a little bit.
it
with
did,
that.
and we have people come tell us to quit spending so much money, and then on the other hand, they tell us they want more services.
Yeah,
So
no,
you-
I get
yeah,
that.
So how do you balance that?
A lot of the times when people are complaining, they're frustrated for whatever reason. I've learned this, is that things are far more complicated than what people understand. And usually there's very few people who understand it overall. And hopefully it's the city administrator or the county, whatever the county, is it county administrator?
Yeah.
You know, what,
That's exactly right.
the person who's the head employee
Yeah.
should definitely have all that knowledge. And other than that, it's pretty hard. Maybe the financial person too, like that they would hopefully know more than anybody. But as you start explaining stuff to people and you start showing them some of the costs, then it becomes a little more palatable to people. That's part of why you wanted to come on here.
Yeah.
So what if the communication from the city is also limited. It's like through Facebook or mandatory things you have to do by law. Like I have to notify you your taxes are going up or whatever all that stuff is. And is it possible that part of the problem with some of this upheaval in the city is that communication from the city side could be a little better in different ways? I know you guys, and actually the other city councilors and mayor, they're open when people talk to them. I know that much. So how can you guys maybe get out there, or not get out there again, because you're there, how can you guys message better to kind of make it so that people are understanding? Because on the public forum, I'm getting a long letter every time about after your guys' city council meetings explaining what happened. And I know when I go to city council meetings, I see something different. It might be also not might not be favorable sometimes, but it'd be different than what I see on there. And so I think that sometimes maybe explaining these actions more than just at like a city council meeting could benefit you guys quite a bit. And good example of this, city police. I think they were feeling the heat, in my opinion. I don't know if this is true or not. It's just my feeling that all of a sudden people are talking about, well, why do we need two police departments? I think we do. I mean, we're plenty big, so I'm not debating that or not. But all of a sudden, they started putting out like everything, you know, like this is all the stuff we're doing, and I believe it's a reaction to that. And is it possible that the city could do more of that and be like, this is actually all the stuff? If you don't read it, it's your fault, like type of thing.
Go ahead.
I think, we already have the council meetings and the committee of the whole meetings are taped and on Channel 7. That's a way to watch it. I mean, we put important stuff on Facebook that people need to know. But I guess it would be, you can always call and ask us, why things are the way they are. Because I really don't know what else we could do. I go on the radio once a month also to give people an update. A lot of that's more of the happenings in town, what's going on. But if we have something big going on or questioning, I'll go on there. Someone will come with me. We're gonna have an open house here in a few weeks to talk about the ambulance again on the 21st or 22nd. But you're right, those people also gotta take a little ownership of finding out their information, but I don't know what we can do to get it out there.
I worry about
we
the
need
counter message not being in the same forums. And I know, like, as public officials, you don't go on, well, some public officials do, like, but this is a national thing. Local public officials generally don't go on and get in Twitter wars or Facebook wars. And in fact, you'd end up, it'd be pretty bad pretty fast if you did. So I just see an opportunity for messaging in a similar way from the city in a I don't want to use the word propaganda, I just don't know a different word.
Independent.
Well, I mean, like, the city's publishing their own stuff, but in more of an informational and less of a selling you type of way. That's kind of what I mean by propaganda, if that makes sense.
Less like minutes and more like an easier read.
Yeah, like these are the things we have going on or whatnot. Just something to think about, because I think a lot of what goes on, especially on social media, is perception. And like I said, I actually feel good driving around the town right now. I think we need to get rid of some light blue siding that's now faded on like a bunch of stuff, including my house. Other than like
You stay out of Sioux Falls.
all that light blue vinyl siding, I don't know if they had a deal on it back in the day, but but you see some businesses with that, and I'm like, oh man, everything's beautiful except for these blue vinyl siding businesses. But that's my personal preference or opinion on that.
Yeah, well, it is. It's skewed, and people have to be aware of that when they're reading that stuff. That it's you're getting one point of view and not necessarily the correct point of view that's coming from each meeting.
Yeah, I would say, though, I personally, and I was just talking to my wife about this yesterday, that I do like that people are paying attention now, more so than I think that they were in the past. And being on the school board, I noticed that people only showed up until COVID hit for school pictures and like the most random thing. And then like literally nobody was there. And so you didn't have the active participation till COVID hit. And we had plenty of participation. Anyways, it seems like there's a real uptick at the city for participation. And I do think that that part in itself can be positive as people are getting more involved. And I think getting those people, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term market maven, but it's kind of like in social pyramids, there's somebody at the top, and they are the one who spread the information in general. And the most educated people should be your market mavens. And so how can you get out this information and kind of help these people spread the word? For example, I always say, like, on this show, 5,000 people might watch it, but if only 20 people watch it, it's going to be the 20 people we needed to reach or whatever, because it's going to be the people with an intention to come here. And so getting out some of those, they're not as ambassadors, but just as like, hey, you know what, you're somebody else who is who is spreading the news in a non tilted way, so to speak. And so it's just another, just some communication ideas to think about overall. And I think that it would help with a lot of the image of the city, because honestly, like I said, you guys are willing to talk to anybody who wants to talk to you. So, and the other counselors are, the exact same way.
And I'd agree that it's good to have people, that's what we're based on, right? Citizen engagement, get involved, at the start, and then you try and work through the things that we disagree on. So, yeah, that's, but I can agree with the uptick in interest from when I was on the council 10 years ago. That,
Oh, yeah.
it was, I always say it was full for liquor when we had a liquor license issue and something to do with the sewer plant. So, and that's fine. That's why we're there. And people can always, if they have questions, a lot of them is to, you can reach out to us.
Yeah.
Which we're happy to do, but for a lot of it, we may direct you to the city administrator, or say it's something to do with public works or the police, or we will go get your info and ask whoever is actually the expert in it, because we do want people to know what's going on, try and get the message on. We're not trying, that's the one thing I think that bothers all of us, is this perception by some that we're hiding stuff, not trying to get
Yeah.
stuff out there, which is not the case.
That's where I see the
It's
comments
not-
always turn.
And it's
Yeah.
not and that may be because we're not not doing it or using all our opportunities, but that isn't, that's the one thing we try to get the message out. Now, I'll make you an offer right now. I will come on here once a month, once a week, whatever you would like.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd love that.
No, I would, no.
Another part of that is things move so slowly in government.
Yeah, that's for
just
sure.
the way it is, You might start with a idea that sounds really good, or maybe really expensive or whatever, and by the time it's all said and done, 6, 8, a year down the road sometimes, it's totally different than what you started with.
Yeah.
It's nothing to what it was, and still the original thought that went out is still out there, and that's what everybody thinks it's gonna be, even though it's not. So,
And a lot of-
and that's tough.
And you find out, why can't you just do this?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can't you just do this?
Just
It
do
just
it.
seems easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you find out there's rules and regulate, and you can't know these different things. So, I mean, we get frustrated as well.
Yeah.
We get a lot of, and that's why you need, people that are actual professional employee, working for a city, so they can
Yeah.
say, whoa, no, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that is, my perfect example of that is back in the day with sheriff's offices. You got elected sheriff, say back in the 50s, 60s, even
Yeah.
early 70s, you got elected to be sheriff. You fire everybody else that's working there. You bring in your cousins and brothers and friends.
And they're all deputies now?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, and not that they're bad people or good people, but look at the, where you're at, knowledge-wise. And that actually used to happen to me when I worked at the sheriff. I'd have to call some places in certain parts of the country where it still ran like that. More than once, I said, I don't know, my cousin just became sheriff, and we all got hired a couple months. So that,
Yeah.
and not that they're not good people, and don't do good, but it's, you're start
Yeah.
from scratch every time. And trust us, as you know, at the school board, right? You go there, once you're on there, you're like, oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah. I really ran, when I ran initially, I ran like not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And that was my pitches, that I could learn stuff and whatnot. And I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I was grateful for the staff that was working there at the time,
Yeah.
the superintendent and the financial person, because we got audited, and it was very stressful, but like also only kind of stressful for me, because I knew that they had it,
Yeah.
or whatever. And so, but yeah, that's, government does move slow, that's for sure.
And one more thing on me, this last term here, me and Tim got elected at the same time, while we went in there with two different, knowledge levels of what goes on, because I had already done it before.
Yeah,
I need-
for a while.
Yeah, right, and so, and that's the example though we can, use, not that that's better or worse, but I just had a little better understanding, and it takes a while to get up to speed, right? When you
Yeah.
first do it.
Yeah.
Not that that isn't good too, but you need somebody to direct you, so.
So we talked about the levy, communication, things like that. What about some of the other challenges that you guys see facing our community? Housing's obviously a big one, but I'd like to hear what you guys think some of these challenges are, and some of the wins that maybe we're getting towards that. One win that I saw, and I didn't realize how much of an operation it was yet, but Rainy River Rugrats is in St. Thomas doing childcare. And they got quite a few employees now, which means that they have quite a few kids. And
Yeah.
so I haven't spoken to them directly yet. My daughter recently got hired there, and she was telling me about all the people, and I'm like, perfect, because you need to have so many kids for so many, whatever.
Yeah.
So a win for childcare in our area. Obviously, it's not going to meet the demand, but so I just wanted to start with a win. But what do you guys think some of the challenges are?
I would,
the big ones.
I would agree that to it, the childcare and the other childcare is it's tight here, but some places across the state of Minnesota are in a lot more dire straits than we are. And right, and everybody talks about economic development and jobs. And, well, let's say somebody wants to come here and start a plant, gonna hire 30 people, hopefully, by then, right? But you gotta have childcare for the people, you gotta have housing that they can live in, right? Healthcare, education. That's all, not really to answer your question, but just to build on what you said, that's how it all works together. You gotta have all
Yeah.
these different things when people get in a little, everybody gets in their own little silo a little bit when it comes to their concerns, but why are we spending money on that when we need this? Why you need it all typed together? But I still think we're doing, with housing, a big step in our housing was, and I hate to keep going back to it as an example, but it's a positive example, is the AB apartments.
Yeah, that's
Over
really
there.
positive.
And I have a little knowledge of that because I'm on the Kutaska board. I didn't get on until they were just starting to build it. But that took cooperative efforts from the city, Kutaska, the gentleman the company, I can't remember the name, that invested in it, and that, and the message I would say that it's a good place that for people to live, and everybody thinks here comments, yeah, well, they don't, I wish I could get a place for that amount of money. Well, most of those people, or a good majority of them, have jobs. They work, but they have jobs where they're the people that, I know one person who works at Holiday, or Circle K, excuse me. And then just the way of the world, you get paid what you get, nothing, not right, not wrong, indifferent. But for the cost of housing, right, you can't afford to have a decent place to live, and that can attract some other people. I just wanted to get that message out, and,
We also had big housing thing this last year where we worked on the big part of trying to get a contractor to come in and build houses, right? That's the idea, right? You give them,
Yeah, get some
city
development.
gives them some property and say, hey, can you, and that's what we're working on. But a big part of that was the infrastructure, right? The sewer, water, and the street. And then the state had laid out a bunch of money to cities to use for that part of it, so we can build the road in, put the water and the sewer lines in, and then, okay, all you gotta do is put the house there, and we're good to go. So, and I believe we're there on the one out in,
are you talking about the multimodal?
no, with the housing, was it, the 3 spots we had, the open house, and,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all,
yeah.
And we had open house that showed people what's going on, 3
Yeah.
different parts of town.
Three-
And 3 different levels of housing,
yes, 3 different levels of housing, make for elderly and then regular, and then
Yeah.
some, like a
Higher end.
higher end split
You know.
level type
Yeah.
of deal.
Because
And-
even the housing, so Bacchus or AB was a win for sure, but it was like the first win in a long time.
Right. Oh, yeah,
you
that-
know? And so
Yeah.
it didn't take long, like probably 10 minutes until that was all filled
Yeah,
up.
and
Yeah.
that was the first multi dwelling built here in well 40s, whenever South Falls apartments are put up and then Falls South, you know, then you need some of those
Yeah.
places. And right, and our study is that we did is hopefully we'll be able to get some interest from developers to find out what's good, what can go, because we're in a spot too in town that the age of our population, some people are getting ready to get into a single level home, which will open up a different home
Yeah.
for a family. But that's what, some of the other ones is speaking of slow, we're still working on the warehouse project with KEDA and the IFEDA to get the warehouse going, but it's slow. Things change. She'll let you talk with different climates, political climates and investing climates and that, but that's still, the bank that's involved is still positive about it, so we're hopefully that it will move ahead here. The final purchase, we tried helping by adding another year to it, to get it done. So,
The 9th Street rehabilitation, that's gonna be really nice when it's done with the.
Yeah, I live over in that area, not on 9th Street, and
Yep.
so I'm always trying to figure out which way is the cut across today.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then there's some properties along there, I believe that
Yeah.
they're gonna try to move the lots so they could people could build new homes and
Okay.
on that street once it's, complete. And new lines and all that are going in, and it's gonna have a bike trail to connect, west to east
Okay.
across the,
Yeah, the bike
The
trail.
city.
Yeah, the bike trail's gonna start, over the bike trail from the high school
yeah.
and hook up over there.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
On
'cause
a
they don't
wayside-
maintain those sidewalks well enough.
What-
Not just the city, but like in the wintertime. I remember having a conversation. I was like, why don't we plow these sidewalks? This was in the wintertime when I was on the school board. And they were like, there's no sidewalks. I'm like, pretty sure there's sidewalks under there. And then the snow melts, and I was like, I was right. I forgot to, bring it back up and be like, okay, let's maintain it this next year. But with kids walking to school and stuff like that. So I didn't realize that there was going to be a bike path. So that'll
A
be
bike
nice.
path / yeah, and then that's gonna be a bike path, and one of the reasons it is, cost savings, but just the whole walkability, rideability.
Yeah.
You can get some grants for, and that's a perfect, project that we got a combination of grants, water sewer funds, right? Cause we're redoing all that. That's even
Yep.
more important than what the road is gonna look like on top, which is gonna be nice. Speaking of your crosstown, that doesn't mean you go 50 down it when it's all set and done. But,
It won't be a one-way
yeah.
anymore.
And that was, and you talk about a plan, and there was a plan to that,
Yeah.
why that was.
You know what? You talk
Sales
about going
tax on
50 in
that?
the neighborhood. There's only traffic laws in International Falls that people from International Falls know. Like in the wintertime with the roads, whichever road is the most clear, that one has the right of way. It's not left or right, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're driving, if the truck's bigger than you, then they probably have the right of way, but you got to kind of see if they're an a-hole. It's kind of like, you're just like waiting it out. And I just instinctively, I think everybody in IFalls knows these. There's a couple stop signs. I don't think that exists. Like they might be painted invisible
Yeah.
in town and people just, every time.
Oh, you're not gonna bring me back to orange balls on top of
Antennas.
antennas. No, you don't know what antennas are on a car. But that used to be on the outside, and every bank or whatever, you put them on there, cause over the snow banks.
Oh,
And,
We could see the car.
yeah. So, speaking of snow,
Yeah.
that will be coming soon. So I'd like to remind people, pay attention to the calendar parking and whatnot to make it easier for our streets to get plowed, or you're gonna get plowed in. It only usually takes once, and people usually move their cars, but, so we're getting set up for that. One thing I think we might want to touch on, we talked
Yeah,
about
whatever you
it,
want.
that is the band shell.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I
of
saw a
course.
piece of paper coming in here that.
You did. I brought it
and
with.
He's got so he can.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
I brought
thanks for
this,
bringing
maybe
it
you can put this up there. This is kind of a artist rendition. Of
up. Let's see.
I don't know. You don't have to do it now,
Someday.
but
Yeah.
Yeah, someday.
I can leave that with you.
Yeah. I actually was thinking that one thing that I didn't set up in time was I want to have a little camera that I can
Yeah.
literally do
Yeah.
this for, and I have it back at my desk. I don't have it up here though. But what I'm looking at here is some diagrams of the band shell.
Yeah.
And I'll put this up online afterwards in the chat. And it looks like the band shell. Is this?
It's a similar, it's not an exact replica.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
some changes.
I like that. I'm not saying that in a negative
Yeah.
way. I'm a nostalgia guy, so.
And I think we came, with a pretty good consensus and everybody what they wanted, didn't want, that, not gonna make everybody happy, probably, but, it kept the original form, the band shell, but it won't, one of the things, it's gonna be lower,
Yeah,
it's gonna be lower this stage.
Okay, yeah, sure.
This is
And then,
a ramp here.
a ramp on the side and to come up, and there won't be risers in there, like they used to have the step-up risers for the band.
Oh, yeah, the back.
In
three
here.
Yeah,
or two
right,
Yeah.
brick,
yeah, so,
In here.
be more amenable to using it for, say you wanna have a wedding or some other type of
Other type of
program there. It won't, we decided not to have bathrooms in
Yep.
there for a lot of reasons, cost, but then.
Burning things down.
Yeah, things like, cause we have examples of what can happen, at Kerry Park for one. We used to have the
Bathrooms
enclosed
there.
bathrooms and all that there that is now a picnic shelter, but
Yeah.
that happened.
It's crazy that's a societal problem, not
Yeah.
a you guys problem,
Right.
but it is kind of.
Well, right now it takes us one time to forget to lock the door,
Yeah.
right? And plus the cost savings. It will be substantial.
Darn street youths.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But as you look, and it's not, and it will have some storage for park and rec, and in the front there, one thing hopefully we can get all, it might not be all of what's going to be on there, but one of the things is handicap access with eventually the sidewalk around the front of it where we have the wings on it where people
Okay.
with wheelchairs could.
Yeah, there's way more sidewalk than, and this is what, we're
where we
hoping
can
for.
walk.
So.
And more
I-
plug-ins and that, because that was built in like,
Yeah,
the
which was
40s.
actually the genius of it, why
Yeah.
it's shaped like that.
That's
is so
why they
that
had
the
that.
sound would, go out forward, and it works. I mean, I've been in
Yeah.
enough children's museums to kind of know how sound travels now. We've got a picture of something here. Is this what we're moving forward with now, or is this still one of the preliminary ideas?
Nope.
No, that's what we're gonna
Oh,
move forward.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, last night at the committee of the whole, we moved it
To-
to approve
To the council.
to the council next week to go ahead and get some bid letting out.
Yep.
Then to move on, and I'm not sure when we'll do that, somewhere so we could get the bids like in January, and then have a
Yeah.
decision, take a look, what can we do, what can't we do? Maybe a couple different bid options, I believe, our engineer's gonna do, and then we can start moving forward, cause, can't really start building anything until like May, if we're
Yeah.
lucky, things
There's gonna
like
be a lot of
that.
concrete and stuff too.
Yeah,
This is another one of those government things we talked about where,
Yeah.
it looks so, hey, we're ready to go. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
It'll be
if you-
another 8 months before anything happens. Yeah.
Even with the different views that were out there, which had the committee that we had, took input from everybody and worked collaboratively, that we thought came up with a nice space.
Yeah,
And-
no, I think that this is actually probably the best, I mean, in my opinion, the best thing that you guys could have been. I saw like during the planning phase,
Yep.
some things that were looking a little boxy and sad to me. And the modern stuff is kind of, I'm more of a classic vintage type of guy. And so I know that, like, I'm surprised that you guys went with the band shell, but also very happy that you guys are going to keep kind of some of that history of IFalls there too. Band shell 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the big part is, whether, I think when it came to the more multiple use had more to do with how we have the stage in that now, lower.
Yes.
And flat,
Yeah, no,
and
that all makes sense.
Right,
Not
so
having those
really,
steps
so
in the
really,
back.
so really what's, under it or over it,
Yeah, no, that's super
we'll take
cool.
care of that and that.
Yeah.
And like I said, on the one side, we got the ramps that will, for handicap and even easier access and when there are bands to unload and stuff like that.
Yeah, this will go all the way to the driveway back
Okay,
here.
yeah.
There's the basketball court here.
And those basketball courts are looking nice. They've been used a lot lately.
They're always used well,
Yeah.
very well. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see that develop over time.
Yeah. So like you said, that'll go back to council. Council's got to approve putting the bids out. Then Bolton and Mink will work on putting the bids out, and then I'm sure we'll hear back on that.
Yeah.
And then we have to see where it's at with the insurance money versus how much it costs, and if we have to
Yeah.
reduce anything or.
Maybe as we get along in the planning process, we can talk about it some more on here and see, progress reports every couple of months or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, so I hope it
Yeah.
all looks similar, I know as things go on, but just the general concept of the band shell is pretty cool.
And we I'm not a big architecture guy, so we don't notice some of these things, but we've gotten a lot of comments that people have been involved about how our city square is set up, the way it is, neat, is that a word? With
Yeah.
how the buildings are set up, and then we have that over there, it's very historic and,
Yeah, we do,
architectural.
and even our downtown area years ago was kind of looking bummy, and it doesn't anymore. So unless you're coming in on one of the gray days where there's the dirt from the snow all over the place, I mean, overall it does look healthier. The town does than what it did before. Of course, there's some things notably missing too that we didn't have before, which is kind of a bummer. But
Yeah.
I do have one other thing since we talked about the band shell. The city owns Cary Park, and they're having probably the last thing, maybe, unless you guys think of something else we can cover. But Cary Park needs some maintenance and a bunch of stuff, right? Like, for one, it's a tin building that's not insulated, pretty much, right? And then all of its equipment is old, including the refrigerant system, right? And the city, since they own it, they're going to be responsible for it. I guess well, you could tell me more about the specifics about how Cary Park is funded or how there's plans to fix it or isn't or whatever. But what do you think about just the idea of the city not owning it and selling it for $1 to
Did somebody give you some tips before?
No,
that?
they didn't. And actually, I've always thought this. Why did somebody bring this up?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So number one, the good
Might be a good reason. That's why I honestly.
the good news is Packaging Corporation of America has voluntarily moved in to help with the ice plant.
With some of their engineers.
Well, with
Or-
labor, everything,
Oh, okay.
parts, service, getting it running again, keeping it going at this point, because and that an in-kind gesture, which is very nice. So we thank them very much for that. That's for this year to keep it going. Recently, Councilor Kalar and I have met with the Rec Hockey Board in an attempt to move the arena off the books for the city and had it over to them to run it as they see.
I think that are they an official nonprofit?
They are.
Okay, that makes
Yep.
things a lot easier then.
It does.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they were part of the city, because they answered to the rec board when I was on the rec board.
There's
I
no
think,
rec
but,
board anymore, it's
Yeah,
gone.
that's right, that's true.
So
about
that
that.
helps considerably.
But,
Yeah.
it's, it's in the early stages.
Yep.
We just met first time, we're made to come up with a plan, and that was part of our plan,
Yeah.
here's an idea, but of course, they gotta go back.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to it.
All right, there'll be a
Yeah.
lot, but along with, I'm glad you brought it up, and
Yeah.
you brought up PCA, is that they, last week, our guy from our refrigeration was up for Bronco Arena, came over there and looked to it and spent some time there. And, yeah, we got some new a box, they call it, and the breaker box.
Breaker box.
Hopefully it, will be able to keep up. Seems to be running fine, but between our city electrician and the help from PCA, all working together, yeah, it's up and running. But one of the problems, as you said, is the no insulation in the
Yeah,
building.
it's-
And and
Not
it kind of tripped, every time we've had issues with it, and the combination of the old equipment is, it can't keep up when it's 70 degrees outside, and it was never built for that.
Yeah.
And that's the guy from the refrigeration plant talked to our interim public works gentleman and brought that could very well be one of the problems, which I don't know if I need to be a refrigeration expert to come up with that, but it makes sense, right? Because that building, it was built to be a pole barn with a dirt rink.
With a dirt,
in it
yeah.
when it was cold. And so part of the problem is it's not set up for what it has. So until, I don't know what we'll do with how this goes with Kerry Park, but there might have to be some adjustments when we start putting ice in there. Maybe like it's been these last couple of weeks is okay when it's in the 50s cold, but up at, you start getting around mid 60, 70 degrees, it gets pretty hard to keep up with ice there. And, it would be kind of reverse if something works out with rec hockey, because that's how the city got it. City didn't build it, rec hockey built it.
Oh, really?
Pay it, yep. And then the city took it over probably 30 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe longer, so.
But no, the city's not looking, as far as I know, and I can't speak for Councilor Kalar, is putting in a ton of money into it, no.
And it's funny, because one of the things.
It's unfortunate because we're a hockey town,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it matters less these days, I guess, when other things take
Well,
priority.
and I think if this goes as we're working, and as you said, as a 501 chapter, they'll be able to solicit funds from a lot of places to improve whatever, they want.
Yeah, there's a lot more that a 501c3 can do if they have, the person who knows how to do the grants and
Right.
all the funding and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's there's a lot of money left out on the table for some of those sometimes, especially when it involves youth. I know Rotary has their repurposing that grant money. Too bad. Maybe we'll see if they end up getting any proposals for it, but perhaps rec hockey could reach out to them, and be like, hey, how can we get some of that money if it doesn't all go? Because the deadline's soon.
Yeah.
So it's the end of this month. So if it doesn't go, rec hockey can reach out to them and see, hey, because the whole point is they want to have something indoor for the kids in the wintertime, and I don't know how you're going to do that with $60,000, unless there's already a place or whatever, maybe, but it doesn't, $60,000 doesn't go that far, but maybe if it was helping an existing project, so.
And
we'll
that's,
see.
and to rec hockey's credit, they were already gonna put some new heaters in there this year.
Yeah.
Fixed one of the garage doors in there, so a little piece at a time, and no matter what happens, Kerry Park is going to be maintained a piece at a time. I don't know, unless there is a big grant comes in or try another shot at bonding again, which is kind of the sad part of the plan for Kerry Park, that it never fell through for whatever reason,
Yeah.
Because it's a
Yeah.
lot easier to maintain a new building than an old building. That's a lot of people would say, how are we gonna maintain this? Well, that's a lot easier, but as of now, we're up and running and everything's running
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
And
Well,
we're
And
working
I
on it.
would
Yep.
assume that we're not gonna have a whole lot of 75-degree weather anymore, but you never know.
yeah, let's see, what do we got up there?
It's
No,
not bad.
it's
50,
dropping.
yep.
It's-
Before we head out, can I give out a shout out to a couple
No.
things?
You know what? We got as long and as much as you want to
Can't
talk
have
about.
I would just like to give a shout out to the, it's only about a month away, less than a month, Elks Veterans Day Breakfast. Expect to see you there, being a veteran, bring him along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of veteran stuff. I don't know what it is. I just, I'm proud of that, the fact that I'm a veteran.
Right,
you know, but-
and you know, that is, one thing I've learned, I'm part of the Coaching Warrior Initiative, and I'm not a veteran, but that's one of the things I've learned, right? Some are proud to be a veteran, but I was a veteran and I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing wrong with that either, but it's free breakfast, and if I do say so
Elks
myself,
free breakfast too, yeah.
the guy cooking the scrambled eggs does a wonderful job.
Oh, well,
So,
yeah.
But that will be from 8 to 10:30 on Veterans Day at the Elks, free to veterans, and there'll be a fee for non-veterans, not sure what that'll be. But we usually get around 100
Oh, nice.
veterans or so, but we got room for more, and come down, hang out, talk to your friends that maybe haven't seen since the year before. And also every second Tuesday of the month, which would be tomorrow, there's donuts and coffee with the vets at the VFW to get together with some people and talk. I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll come to something like that. The breakfast thing, that's a possibility, especially since you gave me an invite.
Yeah, and while you can get in, hey, there's plenty of room. You don't want to talk to them, you can go sit in a corner, eat your breakfast, get out of there if that's what you're looking for.
I communicate a lot, like on social media and like to the few people I talk a lot. But like when I go places, I generally don't I don't like to engage, and so I'll have headphones on at the grocery store, and I just look like an a-hole. But I mean, he's been with me in the grocery store, and because of my different all the different things I'm involved in, and I bet you get this a lot, Pete. Is like people just come up to you, and you probably like it, and I'm just like, I already hate the grocery store. It's so stressful. You know, like there's so much. I just don't like being in there, especially now that it's humongous and everything like that. And so
When I'm at the
I try to
grocery
get in
store,
there.
I like to go to the go in, get out, and yeah.
I don't know. I bet you everybody's talking to you.
Well, I get talked to on occasion, yes, and I don't keep going. I might get some headphones.
Yeah. Get some headphones. Yeah.
But also, and then we got the Elks Thanksgiving community meal on Thanksgiving coming up, and I just want to throw out there, if you're interested in volunteering, you can just show up that day, or more better yet is get a hold of Rhonda McKay at Farm Bureau Insurance down there, and she's in charge of it. To
Okay.
Yeah.
help out if you're a group or individual, whatever. Always something to do, whether it's cleaning, bussing tables, serving, help cutting turkeys the day before, whatever. But,
Are you
yeah,
I would
an
say-
number two?
he
Yeah.
is, and he's gonna come down there and help this year, I'm sure, on Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. I will say this, we are putting out eventually here, we passed it on to council, but we're looking for an IT person. We
Yeah.
should bring
Oh,
that
did
up.
Todd retire?
Yeah,
or-
all right,
Well,
he resigned.
He's
Oh, okay.
moving on to something else. I don't know, I'm not sure.
I remember when he moved to town because
Yeah.
it was a possibility. It was between here and there, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
and so he's moving on to something else, so we're gonna be looking for someone to take his place, so that's,
Now you need to stop stealing my employees.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's
the
kinda why I
college,
brought it up
the
here.
hospital,
there's one right there.
Yeah,
better knock it off. I can't even name all the places. There's the mill, like when we first started this town, and this actually goes to economic development and workforce.
Yes.
Is there was nobody like training up these IT people, and so some of the IT people who got moved up past their qualification level by a lot, and they're doing fine. So they were good people, and I vouched for them. Like I got, because I just want what's best for them. Obviously, I'm not gonna try to handcuff an employee, although now I might. Things are getting slimmer pickings around here
Right,
for
yes.
employees and stuff like that.
So that's coming up, so keep an eye out for that, and, the other thing I would say is, watch for this ambulance, forum.
yeah,
Yeah, what day was that again?
it was gonna be the 20.
It's either 21st or the 23rd, I'm not sure for
Okay.
sure, October, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and like you said, there's not a lot of people around, but hopefully we'll be able to find somebody for an
Yeah.
IT position.
Yeah, I mean, it's a city, you'll find somebody.
Somebody, and there was talk of, do we need a full-time one or not? But Councilor Wegner's right. We do, I know at one time when we first had a IT person, he was just half-time there, half-time
Yeah.
assisting, but there's way too much IT stuff nowadays to have for a city.
Yeah,
right?
the IT guy before Todd wasn't even IT technically.
No.
He just kind of was the guy in the office, like most IT people.
Yeah.
Like at first, I mean, he has a real IT job as well.
Yeah.
It was down in Duluth. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's up
yeah,
there
he's
now,
down in
but,
Duluth
you know.
now. No, yeah, he was.
And we've got some IT things coming up that they're gonna need them for, them.
Yeah, it's between data security, artificial intelligence, and like just accidentally screwing up. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, the good news on my phishing quizzes, I've been doing pretty good. I haven't been clicking. I got caught enough times.
on the ads that are next to it and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much trash out on the internet that like we actually almost all of our residential customers come here because of some similar
Yep.
thing like that, and like, oh, I clicked on something, and it's just like, yeah, well, that's the friggin' internet. It's awful, you know.
Yeah.
I actually
Oh, and it's easy to do.
we recently changed how we do manage the antivirus cybersecurity so that I wasn't staring at a computer all day, ripping my hair out, responding to these incidents. Now we have a system that does the incidents, and it's like it was an everyday thing. I told my partner that I just don't want to do it anymore. Like I hate it. I like doing technology and stuff, but like in a fun way, not in like, oh, look at another person clicked on another link that I gotta go and uninstall or find this or whatever. And so yeah, cybersecurity needs to be taken seriously for sure. Of course, I'm biased, So.
Yeah, no, I think it is too. It's very important.
Got to keep our water plants safe. I saw that the other night.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that off the record. But anything else before we get going? I really appreciate you guys coming in. You guys are always welcome. I got this set up and another set up, and so I'm gonna have a lot more guests on. People, they don't mind listening to me occasionally, but they really like these conversations that I've been having, and so.
Good.
So this is the kind of the way that I want to go, and then it's also less work for me because I did do I used AI to do deep research last night, or not last night, a couple days ago, to prepare for this and be like, what's the hot topics people are talking about when then I was roofing with my headphones on, and I was like, okay, what should I ask them about the tax levy, and what do you think about this? And so I'm talking with AI, preparing for this interview up there, and that's about as much work as I want to put into it. So that's why the interviews are perfect for that.
Yeah. Well, they're good. We'll come anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Even if,
Mostly.
Especially if you see something going on or you want to come in and talk.
As the climate changes a little bit and you guys get some more developments, especially on the band shell, I'd love to hear more. So, all right, well, thank you for coming in. If there was any, Oliver, were we good on audio and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, all right. Well,
Perfect.
Well,
Thanks,
that's
Oliver.
funny. I'm usually referred to that they can hear me
No.
speaking audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for Good Morning IFalls. Thanks for everybody who caught us live. Of course, we'll put it up on YouTube and ifalls.tv. And so check it out. And thanks again.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.